I asked the Minecraft community to submit their best and biggest redstone builds, and they did. In today's redstone showcase, we have everything from the new most insane piston door in Minecraft, to an auto block quarry and the most overpowered farms you've ever seen, to an automatic randomized maze generator. This is the best redstone in Minecraft Bedrock Edition. I have even more that I can't fit in this video, so subscribe for part 4 and submit your builds for the next one. Let's hop into it. Do you remember redstone showcase number 1? Where I was completely blown away by a 27 by 27 cave door? Well, guess what? Demo's back again, and this time it's a 31 by 31 cave door. They one-upped themselves by like an extra 4 blocks. This thing is absolutely insane. Possibly the craziest looking door in all of Minecraft. Yeah, good luck trying to figure out what any of these components or circuits or timings or any of this stuff does without like a very intricate knowledge of this one specific door. I mean, we got random pieces of obsidian and pistons and just all kinds of stuff floating around here. If I didn't know better, I would think that this is just like broken leftovers, but wait until you see this thing open. So the on-off switch is all the way up here. You know, not the most convenient thing when you build it in survival, but it's fine. It's fine. Don't worry about it. So we go ahead and flick that lever, and then absolutely everything activates, and the entire door opens. Now, unfortunately, due to Bedrock Edition, it's not going to give us quite a clean opening just because of ghost blocks. Like, look at that. That's so sad for such a majestic door. Like, absolutely insane. I mean, just look at the interior of this. Like, I know there's a full door in here somewhere, and you can tell because of some of the iron blocks, but like, it's insane to see it just get pulled away like that. The sheer number of flying machines and activations that go into this. Like, where even are the flying machines? This is one of them, I guess. Okay, now let's spend another 5 minutes actually closing this door. So it was about 2 minutes, but that's still enough time for me to go get a snack while this entire door closes. I gotta say, the closing sequence, it did seem a lot faster and smoother than the opening. Listen, guys, I can't even make a 4x4 piston door, and this dude's out here making a 31 by 31 cave door with flying machines. I'm way out of my depth here. We gotta take a look at the back of the machine, though, because... just look at all that. That is insane. Yeah, this is so you're gonna have to build 2 of these if you want it to look nice from both sides. That's what I'm learning here. Jeez, this thing is huge, man. I gotta say, my favorite part of the whole build is the one sea lantern right here for the very middle has this entire bar of slime just for it. So this is a reasonable person's copper aging machine, something that you might actually build in your Minecraft world. It is tileable, but each section does 8 copper blocks. So you just place in what you want to age right here. You press the button, and that's going to send off the flying machine, and then everything will get put into their own little aging system, as you can see here. Now, this system will actually wax the copper as well, and you can even choose like how oxidized you want it to be before it gets waxed. Yeah, look at that. So this one just fully oxidized, and it got waxed. Now it's pushed back out to the middle and ready to be collected by the flying machine. And then once everything has fully aged, it auto launches the flying machine and actually collects all the copper for you and brings it right back to the beginning. This is so cool, actually. And this is what happens when you are way too addicted to copper and you want to automatically oxidize just tons of it at once. This huge machine is inspired by Pixel Riff's David from Java Edition, but of course on Bedrock, flying machines and slimestone and pistons and basically all the redstone for this is completely different. So this does 144 copper blocks at once. It's going to automatically pick up all the unoxidized copper from these 4 platforms right here, and it's going to pick them up with some flying machines. As you can see, this entire row is going to go across. It's going to pull up a couple of rows every now and again. Boom, that is such a good timing. If that is off by even a little bit, you're going to ruin your flying machines. And then it goes on to the next one. It pulls up that row. And then that one. Oh, this is so cool. And then we have another flying machine that gets launched on the back side over here, by the way. So that's going to distribute those 2 lines of copper throughout the entirety of the system. And honestly, this is pretty sweet. So this is just 1/4 of the machine. Once all of your copper is fully oxidized, it's going to get pushed out into the middle, which is going to reset your line and reactivate your flying machine, which will then pick up all of your copper and deposit it over there. I kind of broke one of the flyers, but it's even got a counter on it to know when all 6 of your rows are completely oxidized, which will activate this line here and refire your flying machine to actually pick up all of your oxidized copper and put it back on the platform over there for you to mine. So the the entire system is automated unless something happens to break because of Bedrock Edition, and overall it's actually really cool. I love all of these two-way flying machines. These are notoriously difficult on Bedrock Edition. Now the real question is, are you dedicated enough to copper to build this, or should you just go tear down a trial chamber? I'll leave that up to you guys who actually know how to build. And this is the STONEMEAL farm. This is a double stacked moss-based bone meal farm from Robotron. So here is the on switch right here, and that's going to activate a ton of redstone. Believe it or not, this is actually only 2 moss farms stacked on top of each other, so there's only 2 cedar moss in the entire thing. But if we poke our head in here, you can see that basically every single spot that moss can spread to is being collected and almost instantly harvested with new stone as well. So it's incredibly fast. It's just dumping tons and tons of moss out of here, which of course all gets bone mealed instantly. This is honestly just a really cool feat of engineering, and something that I've wanted to do for a while is design one of these stacked moss farms, but I don't think it would be better than this one. And this is pretty much what we would have to do for mass scale bone meal production on Bedrock if we didn't have fish farms. Like this one right here, which is a 2-dimension based fish farm that produces like 130,000 bone meal per hour. So of course we have 2 different biomes. We got the surface biome up there, probably a swamp. We got the cave biome down here, which is a lush cave. And look how many different spawning platforms there are. Now this works because the fish for some reason still spawn on the northwest corner of a block, so they just instantly get teleported immediately as they spawn. There's just an ominous button right here called initialize. Of course you have your mob switch and your frog. Okay, so let's just go ahead and turn on mob spawning real quick and see how bad this gets. You can see we have a counter there on the right. We've already gotten 80 fish. This thing, oh god, it's just going fast. No wonder. They spawn incredibly fast. They have a really high mob cap. Okay, so we have 400 fish in the nether. Oh, that is a lot of fish. Oh no, look at all this. I think I might have broken it a little bit. There's fish everywhere. Now, the really cool thing about this is that we have a little known mechanic actually being used here. You can see that when the evokers go to summon in the fangs, they're actually holding netherite swords, and those swords have looting 3 on them, because not only the player can use looting, but so can mobs like witches and evokers. This is really cool for small health mobs like this, because you can set up a kill chamber, and then these guys just apply the looting effect. No players, no tridents, no arrows needed. Also, they're not going to summon vexes, because we actually have a vex mob switch up here, which I did not know was a thing, but very convenient. Good to know. So these are all the fish that we got within, like, I don't know, a minute of using the build. Yeah, you know, this is quite a bit. Okay, check out this absolutely teeny tiny, cute and tiny 5-block tall world eater for the nether by Abstract Voxel. This thing is so much smaller and cuter than the big world eater that I did a tutorial on from the Amalex guys. It does look incredibly dense. I don't know which part of this sticks to which other part of it, but I know it's a very sticky machine. I feel like that's possibly the worst way I could have described it. Anyway, let's turn it on. So you go ahead and you flick that thing right there. That's going to go ahead and activate the entire machine. Launch most of the flyers, seemingly. Oh wow, so it actually places the TNT on top of the ancient debris right here, which blows up the blocks down beneath it. Very interesting methodology of launching this thing. Okay, and then the other flyers go. I thought it was just broken. Nah, it turns out it's just got a lot of delay in there. But this is the most peculiar methodology I've ever seen of bombing the nether. So then all the machines go across. They're going to park over here, and then the flyers are going to get launched and actually sweep away all of the lava, because of course that's a big problem. So you'll see that there's no TNT this time. I love the uwu observers. I'm sorry, I just had to say it. Somebody has to show appreciation for uwu observers, okay? This thing is wild. I thought I legitimately broke it first try, but it turns out it just works. This will definitely happen when you use the machine in your survival world, 100%. All of that stuff will happen too. So I guess that's one downside. Sarcasm still exists on the internet, right? But honestly, look how small all of these little flying machines are. It's not going to be quite as efficient like for the overworld as the bomber that I did a tutorial on, because of course the TNT actually sticks right here. So it's best for the nether most likely, just because netherrack has a very low blast resistance. I love seeing discarded remnants of dead machines in redstone worlds. This is fun. Like, what happened here? So this unassuming and honestly kind of noisy flying machine right here is an infinite basalt cube maker. So you see this thing right here, it's just gonna go make that literally forever. So this machine's actually pretty simple. We can simply press the button right here to get it going, and that is gonna start producing basalt. and it's going to be pushing it over. Now, it's going to keep on pressing it down until eventually it maxes out the entire thing, and that is going to activate this little terminal right here, which will push the entire machine forwards. So it takes about 3 or so minutes to fill in an entire slice, and why exactly would you use this? Well, you could use it to grief absolutely everything in its path forever. It is a very slow griefer though, so I mean, you know, maybe do it when no one else is online. So let's pretend like pistons are overcharged and they can go 20 times their normal speed. This is about what the system would look like. So this is just a nice and simple one-wide tileable auto crafter, and I haven't seen a design like this before. And then anytime you have some come through the system, like with an auto sorter, then it's just going to be auto crafting away for you. And of course, this is a one-wide tileable system, so you can tile a bunch of these right next to each other just fine. As you can see, there they go. This is fantastic. Honestly, it's such a small and simple design, and also the bug where the observers are like reading the redstone dust is not actually applicable to this design anyways. This is one of the coolest redstone things I've seen recently. I didn't even know that this was possible, but this is a random maze generator by Cool Powered and Akimitsu. So there's some information about these mazes right here with 2 different algorithms for generating them, which is crazy. So this is one of these cells right here for the Hilbert method, and if we go ahead and we flick this lever, that's going to generate a random maze just like on its own magically, really quickly too. And check that out, it's different every single time somehow magically. Like what's the randomization in here? Is it just relying on piston randomization, or like what's the problem? What's it doing? Yeah, it's different every single time, and apparently there is no locked off sections that are like inaccessible, and apparently it is actually a completable maze every single time. So I just flicked the lever like 20 times, and this thing is actually solvable if we go this way and then just to the right. Like, it's actually a pretty quick little maze to just get on through there. But don't worry, we have more. These things get complicated. So this is a more complicated version of the maze, but it solves a couple of issues from the original. It's also a little bit larger, as you can see here. And check that out. This is such a quick way of generating a maze. That is crazy. It's like basically instant. Imagine changing this on someone as they're like actually in there. Okay, now this one is pretty sweet. So you might be able to guess what is happening here. We're actually going to be raising and lowering the walls of the maze itself, and not just opening and closing doors. So this is the current shape of the maze. You know, it looks pretty mazy. And then if we go ahead and flick this lever, check this out. The entire thing is actually going to change. Oh, that is so cool. Oh man, you can see all the different walls changing, popping up and dropping. That is actually so cool. That's like straight out of Maze Runner, isn't it? So this is an origin shift design right here, and we're actually using 2 walls on the corners, which is kind of cool. So here's a teeny tiny little demo of it, but I can see it's a little bit slower as well, but we can actually go ahead and generate a completely brand new one. I want to pretend I know exactly what's happening here, but to be completely real with you, yeah, I'm just about as lost as you are. At least everything is color-coded. I know that there is logic happening. So this right here is like the ultimate maze right now for Bedrock Edition. It's an origin shift of 5x5, and it has 3 tall walls just to go out of its way to be impressive. And check this out. This is basically the largest size that you can get on like Sim 4 apparently. And if we go ahead and we turn this on, the entire thing will get randomized. It took a little while to even start moving, and of course the entire rest of the maze is also going to be a bit slow as well. But I think each one of these cells is actually interconnected. This is probably how they got their algorithm into the actual system, which is crazy to think about. Because you're not just designing a single cell of this maze, you have to design in the algorithm into your redstone logic and have that interact with other cells. As impressive as that monstrosity is over there, it is a little bit slow, and I think I might have broken it, but this one right here is incredibly fast. Like, as soon as you flick the lever, the entire maze starts doing things, and it's also just quite a bit cheaper, and look at it go. It's so cool. It's like actually so fast that you get a lot of these rendering bugs. If it wasn't, you know, that expensive, I think I would probably build this. So this is an insane ultimate tree farm by Cash. It's a work in progress, but it does mangrove, cherry, dark oak, pale oak, and it also does the warped and crimson fungus, which is unheard of and insane. So this is a modification of Zulson's dark oak tree farm that I've actually done a tutorial on. Surprisingly, seemingly somehow, it doesn't actually look like that complicated. I mean, obviously there's a lot of redstone and all that, but it's a pretty early version, so a lot of this can be compacted down. down. Or maybe it'll be expanded because it's an early version and it needs more tweaking. Not exactly sure which of these levers to flick though. So I think that this is for the nether trees. And then we can go ahead and place in that. It'll grow up, and then there's a detection and a firing, and it's gonna be harvesting for a minute. But as you can see, it does destroy the entirety of the tree. It collects all the blocks and it puts them all into the cube makers, which is absolutely unheard of when it comes to a fungus tree farm. Normally, people just harvest the central core of it and then put that into a cube maker and ignore absolutely everything else. But as you can see, it cleared out like every single block except that one up there. And again, this is an early version, so like there's bound to be some little things, and that might not even matter. Also, I guess this block right here got left behind, but again, it's fine. Don't worry about it. So absolutely wild concept for a tree farm. It would be crazy cool if it got working for every single tree in the game. So this is the most insane ice farm that I've ever seen. This is a 36,000 ice per hour with this absolutely wild looking build. But guess what? There's actually a larger version of it. Boom! That produces 72,000 ice an hour. The sheer scale and size of this is just insane. Check this out. In theory, it's a relatively simple build, but you'll notice that we have a gold farm right here. That's so that it actually automatically repairs your pickaxe as you're AFK mining it. So let's check out the smaller 36,000 ice per hour design. You can notice that there is a system to actually turn this thing on and off. So first of all, we have the flying machines going across the top here. These are going to be pushing down all of the ice that is growing and spreading up at the top here. And then we have flying machines that are going down below this thing, and these are pushing the ice layers inwards with these pistons, or at least they're trying to. So that's compacting everything down into a single one wide slice of ice, which then gets pushed down by this layer. And then we have some unique ice block conveyors. So these are trying to push the ice forwards and also compact it down even further. And essentially, it's just a whole lot of redstone that's pushing this stuff forwards as fast as it can to smash it down into a little 1x4 area where you can mine it with your pickaxe or your command block. And then everything else for that is just auto crafting to turn it either into blue ice or packed ice. And then of course the gold farm is down there as well. Some item sorting for all of that. Honestly, it's really impressive how these conveyors actually work. I'm not entirely sure the logic behind them, but they do seem to work. I'm not exactly sure how these conveyors work. It looks like they're getting pushed left and right, and then they're getting pushed down the lane. So all of that is just for 36,000 per hour, but then we can double or triple that for the 72,000 version, which is insane looking. Now, I do want to know what's up with the scaffolding up top. I'm sure there's some sort of reason for it, but I genuinely have no idea. Oh man, look at all these flying machines go. Perfectly synchronized, pushing the entire platform of ice from left to right. So you can see how much faster the ice generation is on this one. It is absolutely a non-stop feed of ice. Look how crazy this is. We can turn on the command block for that as well, and it's just insane the amount of pistons that are around here. This thing has so much compaction happening. I feel like I kind of broke something. Now, some of it's just melting. It's fine. Don't worry about it. This thing is just so fun to watch. This is Aqua, the Amylex Quarry. Unlike a normal world eater that just destroys all the blocks in one area and creates a giant hole, this also does that, but it collects all the blocks for you, and it only has like a 3% loss rate. So that means that it's going to destroy this entire line of stone right here, blow it up with TNT, and then you're only going to lose like 3% of those, which is insane. So there is a lot of flying machines on this thing. I think that the best way to describe what the system does is to just turn it on and see what happens. Let's blow some stuff up. So it's going to move all of these bottom ones, and then it's going to start grabbing blocks and pulling them forwards. So you can see that it pulls that entire front layer forwards. So now we just have a floating layer right here. And now it's actually going to drop down a bunch of water, which is crazy. So this water is going to flow behind the rear wall. It's also going to go on the sides right here. And this is going to prevent the TNT from actually blowing up excess things that it shouldn't. So yeah, all that water gets collected down the bottom, and it's also going to be item collection. And you can see this thing is launching TNT. Check that out. That is crazy. I didn't expect them to function like this, but this is insane. I love this already. I kind of thought these would all fly forwards, but now launching them like this makes so much more sense. That is absolutely insane. So now it's going to reset the entirety of the system. It's going to push our bombers a layer forwards, and it's going to start removing all this water because, of course, water is extremely dumb on Bedrock Edition. Man, this stuff would take 500 years to go away normally, but instead we are destroying it all with pistons, which is actually so smart. And then we're also going to push the sidewall forwards. So this sidewall here is just so that it doesn't blow up excess blocks outside the farm. This is so smart. That's a great dual use for the pistons, by the way. Now, even if there's a cave or something, this is still going to handle that perfectly fine and still going to, you know, properly blow things up. Yeah, you can see all of the items are actually getting collected down here, and this is where they end up. Let's check this out. We just got like 10 stacks of cobblestone from that. That's pretty cool. Now, this system does have a safety and gate installed. As you can see, this one right here got stuck because there was like a single piece of stone that did not get destroyed. So it's not going to refire the system until you fix this. Can I fix this? Oh, there we go. I fixed it. I know slimestone. Definitely. I could definitely design this, guys. 100%. For sure. Just give me like 400 years. But yeah, as you can see, now that all of them are back in place, it's going to relaunch the system and we are good to go. This is an absolutely insane system. So I understand what most all of this stuff does, but there is this little shield out the front that goes on the underside of it. Not entirely sure what that's for. Maybe it's for catching spare liquids or whatever that falls out of caves, and that would stop it from interfering with all of your observers and redstone down here. But it's definitely peculiar looking. So you can build this really any size that you want. It's a completely tileable and expandable system. So you could make it taller if you wanted to. You could even make it wider, and it can just clear out absolutely massive areas for you. And honestly, it seems pretty quick as well. So if you feel like digging a giant hole, but you just don't want to lose all those blocks with a World Eater, well, build yourself a quarry. This thing is epic. Now, unfortunately for this build, you do actually have to dig out some trenches on the sides, on the left and right, and then also on the bottom as well, and there's just no way to automate that. But wait, we have a trencher build that is designed to mine out those sides easily, quickly, and with the least lag possible. It is also just a super small version of this build designed by TechCarft. And yes, that is how you say the name. It's not craft, it's Carft. So we got two versions here. This is one trencher that is very tall and it's not got any form of item collection. And then because flexing is important, we have another version right here that does actually collect the items. This is also just some wild looking redstone. What is happening here? What is all this for? Okay, we gotta break this first, and then we gotta break this in case of emergency, and that is going to fire up the entire machine. That's gonna go all the way down to the bottom, which then reactivates the entire machine going all the way up to the top. Okay, I see how this works now. I'm understanding. Okay, so it's grabbing all of these blocks from the front. Check that out. And it's pushing them up and pushing them forwards. I was wondering how this worked, but that makes absolute sense. So all this concrete is just the placeholder blocks, and then it's gonna actually start mining through this entire part right here. So this entire band of flying machines was at the bottom, but now it's going all the way up to the top because it's grabbing blocks still. Look how many more are coming up. This is crazy. I've never seen a machine like this. You might be wondering what happens when the flying machines get all the way up here, and I too am curious. Well, guess what? It's gonna activate this little bit of redstone, and then it's gonna fire one little teeny tiny slice of water. So it's currently still bringing up blocks right now, and those flying machines are gonna go into their parked position. That little itty bit of water is still falling. So all of our main collection flying machines just got parked, and now they're gonna get sent back down, and this one piece of water is gonna land right there, and that's gonna turn off our bomber for now. And now we just wait for all these flying machines to go way back to the bottom, which is, it's gonna take a minute. This thing's really, really tall. But yeah, once those things get back to the bottom, it's just gonna reset the system. That is insane. This is such a feat of engineering. This is actually so cool. Now you can see that none of them are actually touching blocks on the way down. They're gonna get pushed forwards a block and then launched from the top going down. Now, because I like seeing things actively flex on me and my pitiful slimestone skills, let's check out the one that actually collects all the items. Not much else to say about it besides that it's absolutely insane. It has like 12 billion different flying machines all going. Now, allegedly, this is like the smallest, simplest, and easiest trencher that's possible. And I don't want to know what the more complicated trenchers look like, because this one is already blowing my mind. But yeah, check that out. It's actually collecting all of the items for us, and that's going to put it into a water stream for like actual item storage and whatnot. And check out these chains of flyers. It's literally just a chain going all the way down. It doesn't seem like it should work, but it just does. So the Imlix guys currently have this built in survival along with the main quarry to mine a total of 90 million blocks. That's so many blocks. What are they going to do with all those blocks? Why do they need all those? I have so many questions. Another first of a tree farm that I've seen. This is a tree farm for the giant oak trees. One of the banes of all tree farm designers is those big oak trees with the annoying branches. And this is just a really strange looking tree farm. I've honestly never seen anything like this. I'm guessing a lot of these around the edges are conveyors for the blocks. A cube maker, I know what that looks like at least. Now this is supposed to work for all of the 1x1 trees in Minecraft, and you can see that the inside of this looks absolutely strange. There's a lot of trapdoors, but apparently this system is self-correcting so that if there's ever an issue or it would break for some reason, then it would actually fix itself. It's not gonna like tear itself apart unlike most other tree farms. So let's go ahead and turn this thing on real quick and we'll see it go ahead and harvest a small oak tree. And honestly, that's a pretty quick piston cycle as well. So apparently the layout of this was started from the mangrove tree farm that I did a tutorial on a while ago. And that's pretty interesting because this does not seem like at all similar. Actually, you can see that the farm did actually break right there, but then it fixed itself. So that's crazy. It is actually a self-correcting system. A self-fixing tree farm is such a flex. Yeah, it really looks bad and janky at some points, but it's self-fixing. That is crazy. Okay, so the entire outside edges right here is basically just cycling the blocks around. So instead of having 4 cube makers like was on my mangrove tree farm, it's taking the outputs from all 4 corners still, but then it's combining them together in this one big cycle of blocks going all the way around until it pushes them all into one cube maker. That is so interesting. That's actually so smart. That really saves you a lot on pistons. Also, pistons are tile entities on Bedrock Edition, so when you get a couple thousand of these, like in a really big tree farm, you do start to notice the lag. So this next one isn't technically redstone, but it will really help you out with your Bedrock Edition redstone. So this is the canopy add-on from Forest of Light, and this is basically like the best technical add-on for Bedrock Edition, and we have a little display world here to check out some of the cool stuff. But if you just go read through the GitHub or the wiki, you'll see that there's like 100 different things that I cannot talk about, but they're all really cool. So this one add-on aims to have all of the useful technical things that you could possibly need, such as chunk borders, like the cool Java style ones as well, where they change based on what the chunk you're actually standing in. Or how about this one? We have collision boxes. Boom, you could actually see their line of sight just like on Java, and it's just using a resource pack. And look at this, you can turn this on or off just by taking the arrow out of that slot of your inventory. You can even turn off the block breaking from a TNT like this one, or you can change the fuse time of TNT. Right now I have it set to 1,000, so it just takes a really long time to explode. Or if you want the really convenient bedrock breaking, look at this. You could just do that, because that just breaks my brain, man. That's not legal. One of the most useful ones that you'll find in Canopy is the tick command, so that you can actually slow down the speed of the game. As you can see, these things are falling a lot slower now, and this can help you significantly troubleshoot the redstone that you're working on. But look how cool this is. You can just change how quickly redstone activates in Minecraft, how quickly things fall through the air, basically everything cool. Usually you have to use hacks for this, but now it's just like in the game. This can't speed up the game, but it does slow it down, which is probably the more useful one. So we also have hopper counters and hopper generators in this, which is really useful for counting how many items your farm produces, and or just generating a bunch of items to test a storage system with. So we have 16 different channels we can set up for generators and for counters. So if we put anything into this hopper right here, you can see it's going to get instantly deleted. There is no delay, and that's going to count in the upper right. So it says 363 right now. If we put some of these things in there, boom, 619. And now this hopper right here is being constantly refilled with diamonds. I can see as soon as I take one out, there's just more in there. It's just infinitely duplicating them. And of course, there's also hourly rates, and it breaks it down by by item type and all of the different cool things that you could possibly need. Genuinely really useful. So this one's pretty cool as well. There is a debug information that you can add to any entity you want, and there's like 20 different things that you can add. So this one is just health, but we can also add if there's an on fire tag, and then if we light him on fire, you can see he's actually on fire for another 60 ticks or so. It shows us his exact health, and that is incredibly precise health right there. So some more general debugging lag commands as well, like the /health command, which will tell you how many entities there are and also what your TPS is as well. I can see we had a range there too. So this is helpful if you have a bunch of lag. You can help find out what's causing it and where it's at. This also lets you have spectator mode in survival. So we're going to go into a spectator mode right here. This will let you actually go through blocks because it's just like legitimate spectator mode. But then once we leave spectator mode, it's going to put us right back where we were standing. So it's not the cheatiest way possible. There's also a command for the hard-coded spawn spots. So for things like a nether fortress, it can just tell you where all the spawn spots are, which could be super helpful. Now this next one is really cool. You can have a bot join your world, and it can actually like place blocks and load chunks, and you can use it for actually loading up your mob farm and stuff. So you can be in spectator mode watching your mob spawn as you have a fake player in your world. And it can also like claim projectiles so that it's holding a looting sword and actually getting the proper drops from your farm. And you can use a hopper counter to see how well your farm is like working. There's also a flippin' arrow. Look at this. You can flip things around, man. This is pretty flippin' cool. Bro, it works for hoppers even. This could be so convenient in survival mode. Canopy is great, and there's so much more that we just don't have time for. And there's also chunk loaders in this as well. So obviously Canopy is one of the best add-ons for Bedrock Edition for any technical player. So if you want to use it, links are down below. Definitely check it out. It's so cool. Now real quick, once you do actually use it, you want to do ./canopy menu, and this will let you actually turn on a lot of the different things because there is just a billion different commands that they can be a bit confusing to use. Take a look at this right here and tell me what you think it is. Well, you're wrong. It's a gigantic 10 by 10 elevator, which I've never seen before. And the flying machines down here are absolutely insane looking. I don't know what any of this is doing or how it's happening, but I love every bit of it. So the bottom floor is, well, actually really simple, but it hasn't been optimized yet. So the middle floor is complicated, but that's because it's actually a multi-floor elevator. So it'll go up, and then you can tell it to go up or down again automatically. It'll just know and figure itself out. I've seen some flying machine elevators for Bedrock before, but they're never really that, you know, small. But this one is literally a 10 by 10 elevator. It is larger than the footprint of most other elevators on Bedrock, and it's just honestly super cool. So look at this. It's gonna go all the way up to here. It's gonna stop at this floor, and then we can either press it to go down. It'll automatically like swap the flying machines and tell it to go down, or we can press the button and it'll just keep on going up to the next floor. Check that out. That is some crazy flying machine work right there. And you can press the button, it automatically switches those flying machines and it goes on down. So it's currently in the go down mode, but if we press this button right here, that's gonna automatically swap around the pistons and whatnot so that it goes back up. Now, I have no idea what is happening over here, but I assume all of this is necessary. Okay, so that's going to be the flux capacitor heading into the TARDIS core, and then you got some kyber crystal mechanisms over here. Yep, okay, looking pretty good. Smart stuff. This is a full-on fireworks factory that's capable of making 12 different colors of fireworks with all of the different effects pretty much automatically without any player interaction, and it was designed by this person whose name I just don't know how to pronounce. So you can choose which effect you want. I'm going to do the star shape from the nugget, and then we're going to do the pink version of that. And then we have our lever right here to confirm, and that's gonna go do a bunch of redstone and magic to actually craft all this thing. And when I say a bunch, I mean a bunch. Now, when I say it's a factory, I mean it. Look at this. There is, like, take a second, pause, count how many farms you see. You can't. There's too many. So we have an automatic gold farm just for the nuggets for the fireworks. We have some bamboo for smelting cactus for the green dye. We have sugarcane for the firework paper. We have a moss farm for bone meal. We got a villager crop farm. Guess what that's for? It's for villager breeding for babies. That way you can turn them into witches. That way you can farm the glowstone. And there's two, count that, two creeper farms for the gunpowder and for charge creepers so you can get the creeper heads. There's a chicken farm for the feathers. And there's a flower farm for basically every single different type of dye and flower that you can need. And they are smart switches as well because this is only farming pink right now. And then there's just up to a billion different redstone lines and logic gates absolutely everywhere. They said that this is the version 1 and they're working on compacting it. I'm not sure where the actual crafting of fireworks happens. Maybe there isn't one. Maybe the fireworks were the friends we made along the way. Okay, I found the firework star maker. It just got backed up a little bit, so this is going to be producing all of our firework stars. Okay, a little fix on that, and then we have our star dispenser. We got our gunpowder and our paper. That all goes into the actual crafter over here, and finally, it's making us some fireworks. That goes along a very, very long hopper line into a very long bubble column into a very long sorting system. And there we go. We're getting some fireworks into our storage system auto-magically. And they have a hidden display setup where you can actually test out all the fireworks that you've been auto-crafting, which is pretty cool, honestly. So it might be messy, but this is honestly an A+ factory setup. I love these kind of like combo builds where you just have everything connected. This is a 256 furnace array by Physics Man, and it fits within just the frame of a live ancient city portal, and it uses the rotating furnaces that we love to use on Bedrock Edition. It's using some fancy trickery back here with the minecart bug to distribute items between everything evenly for the fuel restocking and the item input as well. So of course, having 256 furnaces, you can smelt an entire shulker box of items incredibly quickly. So we just put that right there, and then it gets broken and unloaded, and then we can turn on the smelter and we'll see everything begin to get smelting. Bedrock exclusive features like this are the best. Take that, Java. As you can see, it is a ton of furnaces, and for how many furnaces it is, it's actually an extremely cheap build with a very small blueprint as well. That was less than a couple of minutes to get our entire shulker box backed, already packed with a whole bunch of baked potatoes in it. That is a really cool system, and it only costs 4 diamonds to smelt an entire shulker of stuff. This is a unique idea for a blasting chamber that uses creepers to destroy all the blocks, and you can actually auto light them using a snow golem. So basically, we got a creeper farm up there. It's dropping creepers down, and then as you can see, they get pushed far enough away from the snow golem to not damage it, while also being able to actually break a bunch of blocks. So of course you need a creeper farm, but that's not a big deal, and then you just drop them in there and it can blow up things like, you know, wood or cobble or concrete or something. I've seen it suggested so many times that we use like creepers or charge creepers for quarries or whatnot, but this is the first practical demonstration that I've seen for actually using creepers and a blast chamber. And this could actually be practical in survival. If you hook it up to a slow enough farm, then you're not going to overload the cubing station, and then you can blow it up with creepers over time. And I honestly think it's pretty cool. This super long farm is a 4-in-1 azalea tree farm by Liz, and it splits things up into 3 different cube makers. So basically what we have here is an azalea tree farm that's, you know, preventing all the branches and stuff from generating just for simplicity. So we send all the logs out and over to a cube maker, and then we have an optional mud farm, so we can either keep mud or rooted dirt and send that into its own cube maker, or we can take that mud and start draining it out and drying it out with dripstones and send that into its own cuber as well. As you can see, you just plant in an azalea tree and then it is ready to be harvested and everything goes where it should. I love these little extension lines that we got here. This is a great way of having just a straight line of blocks that's longer than 12. Really nice. And of course, you can tile that as well. So this entire platform is just getting moved along really nicely. And next up, we have a 9-digit combination lock, and this is a permutation lock, if you know what that means. I don't really, but I know that it's cool. So whenever you put in a digit, it's going to light up one of these lamps up top. This doesn't tell you if it's the correct digit. It just helps you keep track of what digit you're on. When you're ready to input your code, you can press this button, and of course, if it's wrong, it's going to reset. So the last digit is going to be 7. We can hit that one right there. And as you can see, it actually opens up this lovely 6x6 piston door. Is there anything cool on the other side? Put an image of something cool right here. Yeah, that's right. I'm cool. If we reset that button, I think that's going to close the door as well. Yep, there it goes. That's a really quick door. I actually really like that. Now, let's take a look at the redstone. It's actually fairly compact, like all things considered. Now, the logic is going to be the same every time that you build this, but the actual redstone layout is going to be a little bit different since we're using repeater locking right here to actually determine you know, the code of the system. And as you can see on the back side of the input panel, we're just using powdered snow dispensers, so you really cannot tell from the front of the system what the combination is. Unless you look at the sign, that's probably not the best place to put the code. And here you can see the actual 6x6 door as well. I always love piston doors. I don't know why. They're just so cool, man. I've always loved them. Huge thanks to everyone who submitted for this showcase. Their links are below, and if you want a chance to be in the next one, then submit your builds, subscribe so you don't miss part 4.